What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sinister Bunny Studios. Today I wanted to discuss a short topic that many of you in the guitar community have probably seen by now, and that's the fact that there are a lot of signature artists leaving Chapman Guitars. Now, for those who don't know, Chapman Guitars is kind of like an internet guitar company who makes some really cool stuff, backed by the Rob Chapman, known on YouTube and in guitar communities all over the internet. They make some really cool guitars. I've wanted a handful of them over the years, and there's still some that I want to this day. The problem is they've got some of their signature artists just packing their bags and hitting the road. Most notably, and more recently, one of my favorite modern guitarists these days, Rabia Masad, announced that he would be departing from Chapman Guitars in pursuit of new and interesting adventures. Now, this could just be the fact that he wants to move on to something new. He's been with Chapman and that group of people for a very, very long time, and maybe he's just trying to move on and try new things. But I almost tend to not think that way because I am slightly a pessimist, but there was a lot of stuff that came out with Chapman Guitars the last couple of years, if you didn't know, and I can't help but think that has something to do with it. Now, I'm not claiming to know for sure. I don't want to make any assumptions about anybody or anybody's intentions, but I can make observations based on things that I've seen. I am definitely sure that his pursuit of new and interesting things was a part of why he left. But I also think there was just some bad publicity and some bad blood associated with Chapman Guitars, and that gave him probably a little more reason just to leave, to not have that so much tied to his name. And he definitely went into detail saying that he has no bad blood or anything with anybody involved with Chapman Guitars, and that's a great thing to see. But I can't help again to think that some of that bad publicity and some of the behind the scenes stuff that we found out about had something to do with it. And you might remember not too long ago, a different signature artist under the name Rob Scallon also left Chapman Guitars, and he had one of the coolest Chapman signature guitars out there that I've wanted for a long time. I now want his Schecter version of his signature guitar over the Chapman, but nonetheless, he was also a big kind of name in the Chapman guitar community and ended up leaving. Back a few years ago, there were some allegations made about Rob Chapman, and you know, it created a very tumultuous environment on YouTube and the internet with the guitar communities, and it just was not good stuff. And I don't want to get into too much detail about that because I don't remember everything exactly, and I don't want to make assumptions about that, but it definitely was not a pretty situation. Now, with the occasional guitar company that maybe a signature artist leaves because they've got different intentions and visions for the future with their partnership, when you've got two signature artists leaving in a very short span of time, it makes you kind of think. And again, both artists, Rabia and Rob, have mentioned before that there's like no bad blood or anything with Chapman Guitars or anybody involved with it, and that they're just trying to move on to greener pastures in a sense. And I am most definitely sure that is a huge, huge part of it, and I definitely don't doubt that whatsoever. But we can put two and two together for at least part of their reasoning. Now, I was never like a fan or anything of Rob Chapman or watching any of his videos or anything with Andertons too much. I watched them a little bit whenever they had Rabia on, but I was never too interested in the Andertons whole channel and all that kind of stuff, which I'm assuming is really good stuff. I've seen a couple things and I didn't mind it, but I always gravitated towards Rabia because he was kind of the spark of it all for me. So the question I have is, what is next for Chapman Guitars? Because they've got two signature artists that have left. Pretty big names. Pretty big signature artists leaving the company. Are they going to find other signature artists and bring them on to kind of replace Rob and Rabia? I know they've got some new guitars and different signature things coming out from posts they've made on Instagram, but will it ever be the same? I think that is the ultimate question, because to me, Chapman Guitars has been playing a pickup game to try to kind of get back to where they were before the whole weird allegation thing happened, and that's a really hard thing to come back from. So if I were the head of Chapman Guitars, I would just probably keep chugging along. You've got a lot of competition and a lot of ground to make up for, and it's going to be a tough uphill battle, but I think in order to gain a decent reputation back, that's what has to happen. And the fallout of artists, signature artists leaving the company is just kind of to be expected, because they don't want their name tied with some of that bad publicity. And again, I know they said there's no ill will, bad blood, any of that, but from a publicity standpoint, it's not good. There are lots of other guitar companies out there that are very strong competitors, and specifically I would probably look at Ola England's Solar Guitars. That's another kind of internet guitar company. Ola England is a guitar player, musician. He's on YouTube, he's been in a handful of bands, and he makes really good stuff. I watch him all the time, and his guitars with Solar Guitars are fucking amazing. So when you got a company like Solar, and then Chapman having this kind of screw-up moment a little while ago, and they're trying to kind of make their way back, it's kind of a hard competition. It's not like you can just bounce right back. You're gonna have to make up some ground, and how you're gonna do that, I couldn't tell you. Like, all of a sudden a new crazy idea for a guitar, bringing on some crazy new signature artists, I'm not sure, but probably doing something would be a good idea. Now personally, if Chapman Guitars kind of fizzled out, which I doubt was going to happen, it wouldn't really bother me too much. Yeah, I wanted some other guitars, but there are a million guitars out there that I want, and if this company kind of fizzles out because of X, Y, and Z, it's not going to really bother me none. I'll still be able to sleep at night. I know that artists like Rob Scallon and Rabia Masad will find other places and other ways to put out maybe, let's say, new guitars, so I'm not too worried. It's definitely something that you hate to see, because Rabia and Rob had probably some money tied up with Chapman Guitars, and they had money coming in for their signature guitars, and now that's kind of by the wayside, so they're probably taking a little bit of a hit money-wise, but I think they're going to find new ventures that are going to be a lot better in the long run. So I'm not really sure where I was going fully with this video, but I just kind of wanted to tackle the topic to kind of document it and put it in place, because there's a lot of guitar players out there, there's a lot of YouTubers out there who play guitar and do the whole content creation thing, and this is kind of the space that we're in. And it's not the same thing as like Dave Mustaine having something happen. That's like a different world in my mind and a lot of people's minds. So this is more of a at-home kind of thing, where these signature artists are leaving these kind of internet guitar companies, and it makes you think about what kind of things are going on behind closed doors and what the future holds for some of these companies, and it's just an interesting topic to talk about all around. I think Rob and Rabia will be just fine. I think Chapman Guitars could be just fine if they play their cards right in the future here and kind of build their reputation back. So it might just end up being like a net zero situation, but only the future will tell us that. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this situation as well, so let me know down in the comments, and hopefully Rabia and Rob will do some cool, well, Rob already kind of started. We'll kind of see where things go with Rabia, and I'm very hopeful that he'll find something cool to do and work with some cool companies, maybe like Mayonnaise or something like that he's worked with before, like a Strandberg or something like that. That would be fucking cool. But nonetheless, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Stay metal, my friends.